Alright guys, so I have some bad news and possibly good news about the turbo Corolla. So no, these seats have nothing to do with it. They just came out of the Matrix, but I blew the transmission on this car. So literally one day I was driving to work and just minding my own business, ripping the car along, and I was just third gear, ripping it down third gear, shifted to fourth, and then it had made the worst metal grinding noises that I have ever heard. So here's some footage right when it had happened. Well, I think I blew up my trans in the Corolla. I can't. Right now I'm in gear. It is really, I can't even get in reverse right now, but it looks like it might want to go forward, but it definitely sounds like something's grinding inside the transmission. After that had happened, I literally could not move the car at all, but like first gear, impossible. Second gear, I'm literally like pulling, so I can go from third, fourth to fifth, and reverse is super bad. So when I was trying to pull this thing into the garage, I originally was trying to push this car, and I cannot move it. Like, once it's in neutral, like, there's something jamming up in the transmission that won't even let it move. So I literally, I had no other choice. Since I could not push it, I literally forced the car into reverse, and it made some of the worst noises I've ever wanted to hear from a car. So yeah, I had the tow truck guy pull. They put the car halfway, like they didn't even put the car decently into the grass, because I don't even know what they were thinking, but I literally told them the transmission, I'm pretty sure there was an issue with the transmission, and they still continued to try to like drive the car or whatever onto the grass, and they put it halfway catty cornered on the grass in the road. But so at that point I was like, that's when I wanted to try to push the car into the garage. But so the car was pretty much like right where the GR Corolla is, but facing the opposite way. So I tried to just push it because I knew that this car would go forward, but it would not go in reverse. So I originally just tried to push it and wanted to just push it this way, and then I would just drive it forward up the driveway. But I could not push it at all. Like I said, I would like push, and then it would just rock back and forth. And I think, like, because right now the e-brake is off and I'm in neutral, and like the car literally just will move like an inch and then just roll back the other way. So I was trying to do that for like 10 minutes and had no success whatsoever. So I then was like, well, and at this point too, I could not get in reverse at all. And so I ended up literally just pushing it over and just jamming it with all my might to get it into reverse, which then you hear in this clip right here. I was just slowly reversing this car, and finally got it where I could put it in first gear, and then I drove it up into the garage, and then that's where it is. So it has not moved since I brought it in here. I don't know exactly what's wrong with the car, other than motor runs fine, nothing wrong. It'll idle all day long, but it will just not go into some gears, and when it does not make good sounds. So I'm gonna assume a synchro or something like that broke, because I didn't do anything that I could think of wrong with the transmission, but as you guys know, that ever since I bought this car, I've told you there's been some weird transmission issue on this car, and I've tried literally changing everything on this car, from all the axles, clutch, flywheel, like you name it. Then I just recently bled the clutch and everything like that. I don't know if that has anything to lead to what just happened, because I was driving the car for 3-4 weeks after that had happened anyways, so I don't think it was anything to do with that. But like I said, ever since I bought this car, I've been tracing down something, and I've kind of narrowed it down to something transmission related, whether it's a bearing, input shaft, or something in the transmission, and that's what I think is wrong with this car. So today in this video, we're gonna jack the car up and then just drain the transmission and see what kind of glitter chunks of metal that we can find, because honestly, I'm hoping that we find chunks of metal inside the transmission. So and then that'll pretty much kind of diagnose where I'm at with this transmission. All right, and as I was saying, so that was the bad news. I think something is wrong with the transmission. And the other somewhat good news is, if that's the case, it is time to upgrade this transmission. So I have read and seen so many things on the forums of, hey, can we put a 6-speed in this generation transmission? Monkey Ridge Racing sells an absolutely expensive transmission that is supposed to bolt up with no modifications, but they want like $3 grand for a rebuilt transmission, which is good and bad. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. $3,000 for a transmission that I'm pretty sure it's from like a European model, and nothing more than just no one liked the gearing type of thing in that 6-speed manual. But I want to put, I forget exactly what model it is, but the model from the 2014 plus Corollas, I want to slap one of those into this car. So if you guys are interested in that, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe, so that way we can try to retrofit that and get this thing running perfect. But now let's just jack this car up and actually see what happened to the car. But as you guys heard from any of the sound clips before, this transmission is not making any good noises. So, and again, e-brake down and it's not even moving. So, but let's jack this car up and figure out what we need to do. As well, I have to say, the time of events that all this happened at probably the worst time that it could happen. Don't get me wrong, I am grateful that I have multiple cars, so this car being broken is not a big issue, but I was literally in the process of doing so many other things with both that car and this car. That car, luckily it's not anything important, but I was just ceramic coating it, giving a really good detail, and getting a few little things fixed on that car, but that kind of had to get put on a halt because that is now my daily driver. Since the new year, I was like, okay, I want to put a little bit more time and effort into the Matrix, and so that way this car can be a good daily driver car for me. But as you see, I mean, half the interior is ripped out. I was in the process of doing a bunch of other things. That video will be coming shortly, but so I was literally in the process of doing something to this car and this car while I was relying on this car to be a good daily driver. And it is and it's not. I mean, it's what happens when you push double the amount of horsepower out of an engine and transmission that was iffy to begin with. So I think it's more put the risk on me. But anyways, that's kind of where it is. I was at like a horrible thing where I literally had to, well, this car was sitting here. The garage had the GR, like I said, it was curing for ceramic coat, and this car was completely stripped on the inside, so I couldn't move it, but I had to, so I had to push this car out of the way, Then I had to pull the GR Corolla out of the garage, and then I had to try to get this car into the garage so that way we could start diagnosing and fixing the issue. So it is just, again, a dumb turn of events, but I just hated the time that it happened. Alright, so car's jacked up. I just also wanted to show you, I mean, it's really hard to see the transmission, but nothing was leaking. No oil, no nothing, so obviously I didn't break through any of the case or anything, but that wheel spins. So I mean, everything spins freely when it's in the air, but when it's on the ground, it will not spin. So let's hop under here, drain the fluid, and see what we find. Right away, a piece comes right out. So something inside of this transmission definitely shattered. I mean, the fluid in here doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's not that old, honestly. Maybe 5,000 miles. I mean, but down, like, you could definitely tell, looking at it, like, something was grinding in there, because it's like there's a lot of fine powder stuff. But no, to find this, literally that was like one of the first things that popped out. Something, like I said, something shattered inside there. So I'll continue letting this drain all the way out, and then take a look at the oil that came out of here. And I mean, I don't know if you can see, let me get my phone camera. But I mean, you see all the metallic in there, so something definitely. And then, like I said, that large piece was one of the first things that fell out of this drain when I drained it. But there is lots and lots and lots of metal flake and a chunk. So definitely say something happened to the transmission. I mean, I'm gonna go and inspect everything else to make sure nothing happened to the axles or anything like that, but I mean, like I said, it never leaked any fluid, nothing happened. There was a lot of fluid that came out of here, so I don't think nothing happened to anything else except for internally. I'm gonna assume that it was probably like a synchro or something like that that just decided to just blow up on me, because I don't know, like, I wasn't that hard shifting or anything like that. I mean, I just did a third gear, wound it all the way out to like 6,000 RPM, shifted to fourth, and then as soon as I let off the clutch, that's when, I mean, I wish I had a dash cam on this car, because I don't though. So if you guys recommend a good dash cam, let me know down below, because I would like to have a dash cam so that way I can catch moments like this and you guys could see my initial reaction. But I was honestly like a little scared, and I was happy that I was able to coast far enough along and then get over to like a plaza so that way I could kind of push my car into like a parking spot. But yeah, it literally, I mean, it happened, and I just was like, there was like, for the first, like, well, for the entire time until I stopped for like probably 15 seconds or so, like, I mean, I was just coasting, and it just was some of the worst noises I've ever heard come out of a car. So, but if you guys are going to be interested in what actually happened to this transmission, I will do a full teardown and possibly open up the transmission and actually see what the failure point was. But right now, I mean, I don't want to dig any deeper into this until I'm ready to, but I'm going to be sourcing, now that I kind of know what happened. Like I said, I'm going to finish double checking everything else in the drivetrain, but I'm like 99% sure it was something that happened in the transmission and it finally just gave up. So I'm going to be sourcing a 6-speed from a 2014 to a 2019, probably even more than that, but that's the generation I'm pretty sure will bolt right up. It's just the shifter linkage is going to be slightly different, and some of the mounts, I think one of the mounts on the side will have to be fabricated. So, but yeah, so if you guys are interested, stay tuned for what's going to happen. But if you guys know where I can pick up, or if you have a transmission, let me know so that way we can try to get this thing swapped and going as quick as possible. Because I would love to get this thing back on the road, but obviously things happen and I got to source a new transmission. So, but when this thing's down, we're going to go we're gonna give everything else an overhaul with the turbo. Make sure, I'm pretty sure I have a boost leak because under certain pressure I hear a whistling noise, so I'm pretty sure I have a boost leak somewhere, and I have a feeling it's going to be down there somewhere because I think there's some metal on metal contact that I'm going to have to try to fabricate a little bracket and push it away from the motor, but I also think it's because the motor mounts are bad. So we're going to upgrade the motor mounts, we're going to fix any turbo issues, and we'll try to get this car perfect, back on the road and ready to go. So if you guys are interested in this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.